This is the LowcoSports Lowdown podcast. Here are your hosts, Justin Jarrett and Wes Kerr.
And Misa Garzon, both bonus co-hosts tonight for the LowcoSports Lowdown. Welcome, LowcoSports fans. A Thursday night that feels like a Friday night, and I think it's the beginning of that holiday thing where for like 2 weeks we don't know what day it is. I think that began today because there was some point today where I was like, wait, Thursday?
It felt like a Saturday. I don't know. It felt like a Saturday.
It did feel like a Thursday. I promise you that. It was weird. Half day of school. I had a backyard full of kids, and it didn't feel like a Thursday at all. But plus, we had basketball, decent amount of basketball tonight, so that kind of felt Friday.
Basketball all day.
All day at the Seahawk Classic, no doubt. Also had wrestling all day, all over the place. I was all over Flow today, checking up on scores. So we'll fill you in on some of that. But just give you the rundown for what we got on tap tonight. We'll get through the headlines, wrestling and hoops, and then we're going to talk a little realignment with our friend Misa here, as well as with Jeremy Huff, who's going to be joining us shortly to talk a little Beaufort High basketball, as well as that realignment, because it looks like Beaufort will be rejoining the Lowco region in Class 4A. And then we got Connor Campbell, one of the stars for Hilton Head Prep. They won the Cross Island Clash tonight that West was over there at in the Seahawk Holiday Classic. Hilton Head Prep boys over Hilton Head High. So we're going to talk with Connor a little bit later and name our athletes of the week. But fellas, a lot going on for this last day of school before Christmas break. Really a busy time. A lot of wrestling going on. We were on the grind last night, the Lowco grind. And Misa, I know you have a little affinity for wrestling. Pal's gotten to you. He's gotten you hooked a little bit on wrestling. But we did have some headlines from wrestling today. Zeo Estrada, who's not competing for Hilton Head High this year, but was competing unattached, or whatever you want to call it, I guess, with the Daughters of Zion, their group. She won the tournament down in Florida, which was called the Girls Knockout Christmas Classic. She penned her way all the way through the bracket. Bunch of Florida competition down there in Kissimmee, Florida is where the event was. I watched a couple videos. She looks really good. She looks as good as she's ever looked. It was impressive, and we all know how good she is. And I hate to not see her competing on the high school level, but I get it too. Like she had to compete with the boys really for it to be worthwhile for her, and now she can go be kind of a barnstormer, a mercenary, and go wrestle the best in the country wherever she goes. So, but cool to see her continuing to dominate and do great things, repping the Lowco. And then May River was up at the Dorman Cavalier Invitational, tough tournament up there. And they had 3 guys make the finals. Houston Rudisil, the freshman, won it at 138. Very impressive from him. Dylan Seaman and Josh Echeverria placed second. Echeverria wrestled a guy who's ranked first in Class 2A in the finals, so I believe. And then Ryan Seaman, Liam Engblom, and Will Morrow all finished fourth. Hilton Head High's got a few guys. That was a big tournament there, and CSRA Rumble on the River up at North Augusta. And they got a few guys through the quarters. 2 of them got through the finals. Bryce Stevenson at 113 and Devontre Simmons at 150. And then they have 2 guys left in the consolation brackets going into tomorrow. So there's some headlines on wrestling. And Misa, we were having a good time because Pal and his buddy Nick Jones were letting the photo war fly on Twitter. So we were laughing at the basketball game about that. But no, the May River Sharks wrestling team, don't sleep now. They've reloaded. Pal's doing a good job over there.
Yeah, this is supposed to be a rebuilding year for us. And so far they've had some very impressive results. Tough matches. And they're doing really well. So today at Dorman, you had 3 guys medal in place. And then overall team, Battery Creek last week I think it was when we had the tri-match. And they won in dominant fashion.
Yep.
So getting ready for what's a tough region. He's had some Cane Bay duels and a lot of events that they've done just to kind of get the young athletes some experience to go into the region and 4A and hopefully make another deep run as he has the last few years. But Coach Powell knows what he's doing. He runs a great program. I am getting more into wrestling now. I think I figured out the scoring system a little bit. but I'm still learning. So, but he's doing a phenomenal job with those guys and gals, even with the JV. A lot more JV events this year to help develop those younger wrestlers and get them the experience to kind of build that pipeline for the future.
Mat time's so important.
I mean, every week this holiday season, they are at it, and the competition just gets stiffer each time. Talking about what they do this week, and then in a few days they'll be back home for a Loaded Shark Invitational. So, that's really cool for these guys to become battle tested, and that really shows off later in the season. But you've seen them compete a lot more than myself, and you've seen them practice. I'm sure you've been talking to Coach Powell a lot. Just don't know about the vibes that you're generating and that they're generating from what you're seeing on the mat, just what you're seeing them hard at work for as we progress in this wrestling season. Because you mentioned it, they're not rebuilding, they're retooling, they're reloading.
Yeah, no, it's been you know what the culture is from River Wrestling, and you see it when you see last in the JV match we had this week against Bluffton. You have alumni there. You have former wrestlers who have graduated. You have the varsity wrestlers out there, and they're not just out there hanging out. Like, they're out there helping these youngsters out to know what the standard is. You see kids who wrestle, and then they're on the sideline. They're a varsity player, an alumni, and they're practicing, literally on the side of the gym practicing. And you see it in every aspect of this program. You can tell Coach Powell's stamp is all over it, and you see it with these young guys. Like you said, Wes, they're supposed to be rebuilding, but they're just kind of all right, let's just keep it going how we do it. And, we're going to get these young guys, throw them in the fire like we always do. And Powell has no problem going up against big dogs and taking a beating and taking an L, because he knows in the long term it's going to be beneficial. So he's doing a phenomenal job. You're seeing a lot of athletes who are doing a phenomenal job, returning players and new guys. And I think they're going to be in for another great season, another deep run in the playoffs in 4A again.
Yeah, and they're so good at the lower weights, but this year the upper weights are pretty solid as well. Mora's been really good. Bo Gwynn had a really good win today to get to the semis, and then he had a tough matchup, lost a tough match, and then ended up getting bumped out on the backside. But it's a good thing. It's a good thing happening over there. Having two guys in the finals at 113 in the Lowco championships, I was like, oh. Like, that's why that kid's getting so good. He's trying to stay ahead of somebody else in the room. It starts to make sense when you start to see the depth that they've cultivated, and that'll continue to happen because there's a lot of kids wrestling at the middle school level this year. So love to see it. I'm a wrestling guy, but we definitely have some basketball to talk about as well tonight, because it was a pretty busy night for hoops on a Thursday. It's usually a pretty slow one, but with this going into the break, we had some stuff going on. The big thing was the Holiday Classic, Seahawk Holiday Classic. Wes, you were out there for a good bit of it. Tell us about what went down out there in the nest.
Yeah, it was a great assortment of squads that came over for this 3-day tournament, and we've seen teams from all over these past few years, and more so this year. I think there's a lot more South Carolina teams, but we still saw some quality squads from out of state. I think the team that really impressed me was Archbishop Ultra. They have been there before. That is a loaded team, a well-coached group, and they've got some guys who can nail the three-pointer, but just strong, physical, athletic basketball players who just get after it and bring that hustle to the boards and really, all aspects of their games. It's fun to see such a well-coached team. You see that a lot at the high school level, but just seeing all the teams that come down here, there are some really talented groups and excellent coaches that have really showed why they're so elite in those areas. So University School started the day on the boys' side, 54-43 over a strong Blue Ridge squad, but Archbishop Alter and the John Carroll School, I did not see that one because I was watching Hilton Head girls who got a nice win of their own, but John Carroll School, really impressive, 77-31 over Lakewood. And then on the boys' side, it was a Donnybrook, as you said, and we got a special treat, a special holiday treat. You don't see it very often, but we got Hilton Head Prep boys against the Hilton Head High boys in the Holiday Classic. So, a very rare Loco on Loco matchup in that tournament. And it was an absolute battle out there in the court. Prep Dolphins hanging on 44-40. and Connor Campbell leading the way. I mean, what he has developed into quite a leader and talented player on the floor. He can shoot the three. I mean, he's a incredible passer. He can make some high caliber passes on the dribble, and man, his vision is elite.
He goes
and
hard.
He hit a couple of huge free throws to seal it, and free throws really the difference in that game. Seahawks just struggled at the line. They got some good chances. They were slicing in. They were able to draw a couple of fouls, just foul shooting. Hilton Head Prep was able to get it, and the Seahawks struggled, and that really ended up being the difference in that ball game. But Reese Stewart doing his thing once again, hit a terrific three-pointer at the buzzer to end the first half to pull it to within two. Seahawks hung around in that second half, but Dolphins were able to pull away with a couple of key threes. But Hilton Head, scrappy as they always are, find a way to stay in it with clinical drives to the hoop. Luke Danzel showing out alongside Reese Stewart to try to cut into the deficit. And Nate Rohr also had a nice bucket and one, but just came up short. Seahawks missing a couple of big ones at the line throughout that second half ended up being a difference. And I thought Hilton Prep did a good job rebounding the glass. Jason Britchie, although not the best performance I've seen from him, he was really solid. And then we saw Ben Fry a couple of big threes in that first half. So it's not just one guy for Hilton Head Prep. They've got a couple of important role players that if they show up, it's absolutely huge the way they run their offense and the way they operate the team as a whole. So what a terrific game. And I've learned a lot of good things and optimism from Hilton Head. This is the best Seahawks team we've seen since that state championship squad, and I think a lot of these players have really matured together. You see Reese Stewart coming back after showing a lot last year. I think Luke Danzel starting to get John O'Gorman. They got a lot of hustle, under the radar players who just give it all when they're on the court, kind of a la Ron Fudalo's squad in a bit. But it's a different way they run it a little.
Yeah.
They don't do the line changes, but in terms of the
they don't
hustle
get up
that
and
they
down
give, the
quite as
intensity,
much.
they
But
get up and down. Yeah. It's very similar.
Yeah.
They love playing transition.
It's a weird deal with them because the record's not very good, but they have a couple really good wins. They've been really competitive with pretty much everybody. So that's kind of a weird thing. And then, Misa, we were talking about the transitive properties getting all thrown out of whack tonight because what we saw tonight from May River was bizarre. This team scored 34 points in a win against Beaufort. We're going to talk to Jeremy Huff a little bit about that in a little bit, among other things. But tonight it was 12-12 at one point, and then it was 33-16 at halftime, and it was 87-26 when the game ended. So that means they went on I'm not feeling great at math right now, but that's a 75-14 run to end the game. And it was crazy. They scored 39 in the third. Dude, everybody who came in was just splashing threes. Bryson Hart. We had to look up his name on the roster.
Golden State Warriors out there. That's
it was like Bryson Hart turned into Steph Curry for a little while. He banged 3 in a row in about 17-second span. And then and it just snowballed, man. It just snowballed. Like Duncan got like 4 layups in a row at one point in that 13-0 run that broke it open. And then they came out in the third quarter and just steamrolled them. Everybody was banging. My boy Kevin Up Smith with 11 points in the second half off the bench. Kevin Up doesn't usually get a whole lot of playing time, but he's got the best name in the Lowco. Kevin Up. I mean,
Kevin Up.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. Kevin Up Smith.
It was, I think, Justin, you remember, it was 12-10 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
BA came out and did the 1940s offense where they
51-second possession.
Yep. Then they called timeout.
And called timeout before they took a shot, and then came out of the timeout, scored a bucket to tie it.
Whitmore calls a timeout
for a long time.
Whitmore calls a timeout after they scored 12-12 because it went from 51 seconds of just moving the ball to a 2-second give and go. Whitmore calls a timeout. I don't know what Whitmore said in that timeout. I don't know what happened. I just know that after that timeout, the game wasn't close. And then the third quarter.
He was working hard on a technical before that, too. He was close to getting a technical, and then they just went on a tear. So, yeah, I think whatever he wanted to say but didn't came out in that huddle. And was that when he faint stepped at him like he was
I think it was. I think that was what woke the team up like that. We don't have video of that, I don't think, but he took that time out. It was 12-12. We thought it was going to be a low-scoring game because of the 1 minute.
Get over here. And then he did like a faint step like he was going to hit something. He didn't come even close to hitting anybody. Don't get me wrong. He just took a step at him like he wanted to fight him, and it was on. And hey, there's Jeremy Huff.
Okay, go ahead.
Did you accidentally pull Huff in? Welcome, Huff.
What's up, guys?
No, it was a wild game. Huff can hang out while we...
Let's
all right. Huff can hang a minute while we...
I had a couple more notes to talk about. I wasn't finished talking about the Holiday Classic, but we'll get to that.
Go ahead.
Well, let's talk about this game right now.
Well, let's check this out. We do have a jam-packed show tonight. We have a lot of topics on tap tonight. But yeah, operating off your phone.
I just want to ask Coach Huff, do you believe when we tell you May River scored 39 points in a quarter?
I heard y'all saying that. That's really impressive. I mean,
I was there, and I still don't believe it.
That ugly
game. I was at your game when it was 34-30 final.
Yeah.
And
yeah. And there were turnovers on nearly a quarter of the possessions in the entire game. I saw the huddle report that it was like 23.4%, 22.6% or something. It was a rough night for offense that night, but the Sharks got it going tonight, and you guys have had it going since that little lull. You lost 3 in a row, but got it going again and had a huge win last night against James Island. So, I've been impressed with your squad because you didn't have a lot coming back as far as known quantities to people who had followed your varsity team. But, man, they've pulled it together and really come together quickly.
Yeah, those guys are a great group of guys. They've come a long way. Still got a long way to go, but yeah, they've come together. And we had 2 guys returning with Jarrett and Samari, and that was kind of it. We kind of built everything around those 2, and things have been going well. We did have a little bit of a stretch there where I think we played 8 games in 11 days or something like that. So it was, I think, that was on me. That was bad scheduling on my part. But they've rebounded pretty well so far.
Well, in the off season, you're just thinking we want to play as much as we can.
Right. Yeah. We start region right there after the first of the year. So we're trying to get everything in while we could. So,
yeah.
Well, you've known this James Island team for a while. You guys used to be in the same region back in Class 4A. And you had that epic duel that you guys won for the region title. So some good history between these 2 teams, and another terrific game on this yesterday, 51-49. Take me through how that went down, how you guys were able to secure a pretty impressive win home over the Trojans.
It's been fun playing them. Miss having Brady there, but it's been a good couple years, so we kind of kept that going and everything. Going back to the region days, yeah. Last night we came out defensively. I think we held them to 19 points in the first half, so we kind of picked it up there. And we didn't settle for bad shots there. Those couple games there with May River and Bluffton, we took a lot of bad shots. So we've been working on that. And James Island's a very good team. I mean, there's my hats off to them. I think we went up 10 at one point in the third quarter. They came back and tied it, and then we just kind of held on there at the end to win. They banked in a 3 there at the end to make it 2. But it was a fun game, that's for sure.
So, Coach, talk about in the May River game. At the end of the game was a close game. Boys couldn't pull it out, and then I watched some of last night's game, the fourth quarter specifically, and it was a close game. And then your boys, like in the last minute, just pulled away to get a 5-point lead before the buzzer. Has anything changed in the mindset that you guys have done when you guys were in that skid to now where you can close the games against a very good team like James Island?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that May River game, we'd beaten them earlier by 11. Then we had a tough one against Whale Branch. The night before May River, we were down 16 and came back and won that one. Then we had May River the next night. And, yeah, I think our mindset is now we know that night in and night out, we just have to play hard. There's no let-ups whatsoever. I mean, it's 32 minutes of hard play no matter what. And that was on me. I think I didn't have them quite ready for that May River and Bluffton game. And then, we came back and beat Bluffton the second time. But, yeah, right now their mindset is it's a full 32 minutes. And, any team on a given night can play really well. So we have to give it our all.
Especially this year. It's been hard for us to make our rankings because we've seen so many, teams beat others that, are so close to each other, and we have these splits, and it makes it hard for us. But we love it because the competition has continued to increase. I'm sure you could say the same thing as well. Just the state of the Lowco in general, how the talent is really rising all across the board, and we've seen that with yourself and you guys playing Bluffton and May River, and Sharks having a really strong victory over Beaufort Academy. So your thoughts on the state of basketball here in the Lowco, especially your region with the way Battery Creek is playing, and then in the 4A with Bluffton, May River, and Hilton, it all looking solid.
Yeah, I mean, I think the basketball here in the Low Country is just getting better and better by leaps and bounds every day. Our region's going to be really, really tough. You got Philip Simmons and North Charleston. North Charleston had one senior last year. Battery Creek's playing really well. Hanahan, and then that 4A region is still that's a gauntlet of teams there. I mean, it didn't break my heart when we left there a couple of years ago after that, after winning it. But those are all great teams, and we played a lot of those guys. I mean, obviously, May River, Bluffton, and James Island are all in the same region. Played Lucy Beckham too, so we played 4 of those teams that are in that region. We play a hard schedule in non-region, hopefully to kind of get us ready for our region, which is going to be tough. But I feel like we're up for it.
Great segue there, talking about you wouldn't want to go back to that region, because guess where you're going next year, buddy?
Now I'm actually excited about that. Region. Yeah, I love. I mean, I'm friends with all those guys. We've been friends for years, so I've missed that. That's why we played all those guys still, because we're close, and so I'm excited about moving back. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I think it's going to be a fun time again.
I mean, I kind of miss it, because the only Lowco on Lowco game you guys have in region play right now is Creek, and you just, in most sports, that hasn't been that competitive. So it's been kind of a bummer, but I think it's going to be more competitive in boys basketball this year for sure. They got some juice, and they're definitely going to be coming for you. But Misa, you definitely have some thoughts on the realignment, I'm sure, as well, as a coach and an administrator. And May River was right on the border for 5A. Geography might have saved you there, because they wanted to put Myrtle Beach with North Myrtle Beach and keep y'all with everybody in this region. So I think that saved you from 5A for 2 more years, but I'm not sure how much longer you have.
Yeah, no, we know this is probably the last cycle we're going to be in the 4A, and thank God for geography and regions for saving us and being in 4A. But it's been a lot of debate with the multiplier system, but I am excited to have Beaufort back. That's where I started. On my schedule, Beaufort's always there with Coach Rollins every year. It's not even it's a no-brainer. As soon as season's over, hey, when are we playing? All right, let's make it happen. And I'm just glad that we don't have to go to Charleston for 2 teams. It's now Bishop England maybe is going to be in our region. I think they'll be in our region because they're the only Charleston group. But we got Carleton, Beaufort, Hilton Head. It's a Lowco region. So I'm excited for, I think, like Coach Huff said, with our sports all around, especially with basketball, you see it now. So many competitive games. It's just better. And I know for you, Coach Huff, travel-wise, you're probably happier because you guys have a lot of Charleston trips in your region.
Yeah, I'm excited about being able to be home a little, or closer to home a little more often. Yeah, we go to Charleston once a week, if not twice a week there for a while there early on in the season. But so it's going to cut down on travel, and again, it puts everybody, 4 county schools right in the same region, which I think is great.
Yeah, I love it. It's fun for us for sure. What were you guys' thoughts about the classifications that were released, the proposal? I guess it was about what I expected. There were some schools like Christchurch jumping all the way to 4A. I didn't see that coming. I thought Gray would go 4A possibly. I thought Oceanside might as well, and they stuck at 3A. So looks like Whale Branch will go to 2A, barring any kind of weird appeals. We get Ridgeland and Hardyville in 1A together, so that'll be fun. But not a ton of surprises. I didn't think, except for Christchurch. That was kind of the outlier to me.
May River and Bluffton both on the very high side of 4A.
Yes.
May River, from what I'm seeing, is like number second.
Bridges will pop to 3A. Yeah, Bridges. I anticipate Bridges might appeal that and appeal to 2A because they are just barely above. And And if anybody's looking to go to 3A for geography or anything, they might look into moving down. But I mean, who knows? I don't have any knowledge of that. I was just looking at where they fell, and the fact that they're kind of not quite in the same mold as the Pinnacle schools, that they might have an appeal there. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the multiplier was inevitable, just given the disparity in 2A and 1A, especially with the charter schools and the collegiate academies and the private schools. But I think all of us here, me on the coaching side, this is not a perfect system. 3 may be too much, because you see schools like a Christchurch going to 4A and they're a 1A school, or a Bridges Prep, that's not that big of a school going to 3A. But at the same time, Georgia has a multiplier system that's been pretty good for them with their private schools and their charter schools. And we see like a James Allen that was 1,100, 1,200 raw number, now they're in the 1,900s because of how many out of zone kids they have. What I do think is fair is that all of the schools were affected. Like our school, our numbers jumped up. Coach Huff, your school numbers jumped up. So
it jumped a lot,
no one can say this benefits.
And then we had Whale Branch go up to 2A, Hampton County stay in 2A, so we could it's cool to see the Hampton County Hurricanes and the Whale Branch Warriors.
That's going to be a tough region for football, man.
Yeah.
Hampton, Woodland, Timberland, maybe Timberland, Whale Branch, Barnwell. Like there's a bunch of potential hammers in that region. Making the playoffs will be doing something. It'll be like that Myrtle Beach, Florence region was in 4A for a long time. But Coach Huff, looking ahead to the region, we talked a little bit about it. It looks to me like, North Charleston's never a pushover, especially on the boys' side. And then, Hanahan's going to be tough. Philip Simmons is going to be really tough. And Creek up. It feels like there's going to be a lot of splits, I think. Home court's going to matter.
Yeah, it is. It's anybody in our region can win on a given night. Yeah. I think, anybody can go on a little run as well. It's going to be tough. Philip Simmons, North Charleston, those two schools are really, really good. Hanahan's good. Like I said, CJ's done a great job with Battery Creek. They're going to be tough. There's no give me wins in those 8 games. That's for sure.
Not one, not a single one. You guys got anything else for Coach Huff before we let him get on with his Christmas break?
Coach, it's really been fun to watch Tamari improve as a player. And we saw a taste of it last year in the playoffs, so he was able to make an impact on offense and then being that hustle guy on D as well. So, how much have you seen him grow just these last few weeks as a basketball player after what he did on the football field?
He's growing leaps and bounds. And the thing is, he's not done getting better. He's only a junior. He played a lot, obviously, as a sophomore. He was all region last year. And he's preseason all region this year. And he's got those long arms and long legs and just has the uncanny ability to be where he needs to be. We got to cut down on some of his mistakes and get him under control a few times here and there. He's just going 80 miles per hour when he should go 50 sometimes, but I can't complain about that. That's for sure. But he's
going 80 when everybody else on the road's going 50. That's the problem. Sometimes he just gets going a little too fast for everybody else to keep up. And then sometimes he can't either, but man, physically, he just looks bigger and stronger and more physical on the court this year. And he's not done growing either, I don't think. He's a phenomenal athlete. And the thing that always strikes me is I feel like every time I'm watching you guys late in the game and it's close, he comes up with some ridiculous, back-to-back steals and buckets or something.
He had a big steal last night that helped seal that one too. Yeah. Obviously the Lake City game to take us to the Elite Eight.
Not surprised by that.
He gets the steal and the dunk to kind of end the game. And then, of course, last night, like I said, he got a steal right there in the last few seconds. And actually it led to AJ's dunk. And then we got the Cleckley kid who's coming on strong.
Yeah. Yep. And then Naeem Pope will go off for 20
Yeah.
every now and then.
He's had a couple 20-point games, and he's stepping up big for us. Garen had 2 double-doubles back-to-back.
Yeah.
Which, it's just been, we've had different guys step up different nights, which has been a blessing.
Very good. Well, hey, thanks, Coach. We appreciate you. And
Coach,
you got something,
Huff, we are all for 1 second. We are all big-time members of the Anderson Jones fan club, so I'd like to have an update on him and how he's doing.
He's doing well. He got done with his first semester at Clemson. Everything's going well for him, and so we still rooting that kid on. That's for sure.
And you've of course got Jeremy on your bench.
Yeah.
Who's I think you would be quick to give him a lot of the credit for your success as well, your coaching staff, because it definitely takes more than one guy to be able to pull it off.
Without him or Dave, we wouldn't be where we're sitting without those 2 guys. That's for sure.
No question. You guys have coached them up quickly this season, and definitely a lot of potential for the second half of the year. So thanks so much, Coach. Always a pleasure to talk with you. And I got your number locked back in. My old phone,
man.
Lost it. So we can do our late night texts again.
Sounds good, man. Thanks, guys. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Take care, brother. You too.
Thanks.
Coach Jeremy Huff from Beaufort High School. Misa, you want to hang around, or you got to get on with your life? You sticking around for a little bit? All right, let's shout out some sponsors before we get to our next guest. The MVP sponsors of LowcoSports this season. Starting with my wife, Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of LowcoSports. She's with Keller Williams of the Low Country, and she would love to get to work finding you a place in the Lowco, whether it's your starter home or forever home, maybe even an investment property. Great time to buy. It's turning around. Got to start setting up that search and finding the spot that you want to make an offer on. And before you do, we're going to call on Homegrown Home Inspections to make sure that place is up to code, and they hold it to a high standard of homegrown home inspections. John Lucas and his team bring great expertise and customer service to the process and make sure that you feel comfortable all the way up until move-in day. Call on Homegrown Home Inspections, the official home inspectors of LowcoSports. And when they give us the go-ahead, we'll go to the Mickelson Law Firm and sign the papers with the official real estate closing attorneys of LowcoSports, our original sponsors since 2017. Ryan and Tiffany and the Mickelson Law Firm will take care of all your legal needs. And hospice care of the Low Country, my friend James Dismond, friend to all, James Dismond, the CEO over there. He's got a great, wonderful, caring staff taking care of people with hospice care, palliative care, as well as free grief counseling in the community. Because at Hospice Care of the Low Country, it's not about dying, it's about living. And Wes has disappeared on us, which is unfortunate because I know he wants to talk to our next guest. We got Connor Campbell joining us, and I'm sure Wes will be back shortly. But Connor, what's up, man? You must have showered, because every time I see you at a game, you are soaking with sweat. So you look pretty clean tonight. But I'm sure you got pretty moistened up tonight, because you guys had a big rivalry game. You don't get too many shots at Hilton Head High School over there at Hilton Head Prep, but you got a shot at them tonight in the Seahawk Holiday Classic and took advantage of it. I believe, if I'm remembering right, you had 16 points and 7 assists. So tell us a little bit about this team that has really picked up where you left off as state champs last year, despite having some big shoes to fill, and how you've been able to do it.
Yeah, we played pretty well tonight. We had a couple returners like Ben and Jason. They both had significant minutes last year, but Ben's been battling. He had like his second knee surgery this offseason, so he's been battling some injuries. But Brendan, who's new to the school, and Ege, who is a foreign exchange student new to the school, they both played big roles. And Billy, he didn't get a whole lot of minutes last year, but he can really shoot the ball. He's been playing well.
Yeah, he shot the lights out at BA the other night. Both he and Brendan Moore, who you just mentioned, have been nice additions, especially when they get the shot going. Bridgkey is a force inside. He had a double-double again tonight. And then Ben Frey, of course, is just a real energy guy and brings a lot to the table. So good group, and you guys are buying into Coach Barron's system. Last year I think it was a little bit of an adjustment early on, just because it was so different and a lot to absorb. But it seemed like mid-season you started to kind of get into the flow, and then this year it's really been a well-oiled machine. So give me some inside baseball about what it's like to play in that Princeton system and the patience it requires, but the payoff that you get when you're able to be patient enough for the right opportunity.
Yeah, last year we didn't have a summer with Coach Barron, which was rough. So
Right.
we were kind of learning it as the season went on. But as the season went on, I thought we definitely understood it a lot more. It's a lot of decision making and knowing where you need to be if somebody else has the ball, or like it's a lot of reaction and you can't really think about it. So it definitely just takes time and practice being able to work through it.
Well, you guys were challenged tonight. That was a scrappy Hilton Head team that we saw, but you guys were able to hold on. And I'm trying to look my stats up on my phone. I'm not sure what's happening here. But
I've got some for you, Wes, from the game changer. Connor had 16 points and 7 assists. Britchke had 10 points and 10 boards. And Brendan Moore had 9 points.
The connection that you have with Jason Britchie, we saw that a little bit tonight, but also, from some of these other guys on this offense, the way you're able to hit some threes and find the open man. Talk about how you developed just that vision as a passer that we saw tonight with Britchie, as well as Brendan Moore, who had a couple of big threes in that first quarter, and then 2 huge ones to seal in the fourth. So just describe how you guys were able to pull away in that fourth quarter and hold on when it looked like Hilton was trying to scrap for a comeback.
Yeah, I always know that Brendan and Billy are very good knockdown shooters. If they're spotted up, you gotta get them the ball. They've got a good chance of making it. And Jason, he's really been working on his post game. He's got a lot better with moves and being strong inside. Especially he's got a smaller defender, you kind of just got to give him the ball. And he's been working on and really improved a lot on making good decisions in there, and whether to kick out the ball or go to work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really impressed with him against BA. He didn't do a lot on offense because they were kind of sagging on him, but man, he was finding open shooters all night and keeping the offense moving through him. And I also have noticed that you guys seem to kind of wear people down in the fourth quarter. I think that motion offense keeps them working on defense all night long. And then the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, those guys start flashing open and you start getting some easy buckets. That definitely happened against BA. And it sounds like tonight you were able to, again, just kind of have a little more gas in the tank in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental game, the way we play. We don't play too fast. We don't score a whole lot of points, but, we try and get quality possessions. And, you break down to the other team, they see it's 36-35 in the fourth quarter, and all of a sudden they just start trying to rack up points, and that's usually where you get them.
Well, you guys had some good looks midway through the game. The threes just weren't falling, but when they did, you were able to get some separation. But I want to hear about that last sequence. You miss a free throw, you track it down, just a huge offensive board in a close game, in a one-possession game. You're able to, keep the ball in your hand. You're up by 2, and then you're able to knock down those 2 to put it out of reach. So just tell me about that sequence and that hustle and how you're able to knock down those clutch free throws.
Yeah, I made the first one, and then they iced us again, and I missed the second one pretty bad, but Jason was able to tip it out, and there's nobody there, and I was able to make the next 2, which pretty much sealed the game, which was nice.
Yeah, you've been solid at the line all season long. You're a multi-sport guy too, baseball guy as well, right? Anything else? You play anything else? Nothing else, right?
Nah.
Just the 2. 2's enough. You got a favorite, or are you what sports in season is my favorite guy?
I would probably almost say a little more baseball. I don't play AAU, but I do play summer baseball.
Gotcha. Well, your sister is a star basketball player as well, and she's been on a tear. Tell us a little bit about those Hilton Head Prep girls. They've been a little more entertaining as the openers for you this season.
Yeah, they've. I don't think they have any seniors, but they've been working pretty hard. They have a young team, and Courtney's been playing pretty well. I think she scores most of their points.
She lights it up every night. Yeah, pretty well. She's good for about
the way
27 to 33 a night.
The way I think they scored like 70 something, and she only had
I misread that. That was 44. They scored 44 the other night.
Okay.
She had 27.
Well, yeah, Courtney has been the catalyst, but there certainly have been some other players stepping up, but she has been an absolute superstar for that team. And I got to talk with your older sister, Katie Campbell, as well tonight, who just came home from college. So How cool is it to have those two sisters who have really inspired you and pushed you forward in your game, and to have siblings to play with over the years. And tell me about how she's doing at the college level, or she's playing some club ball too.
Yeah, Katie is actually the women's basketball manager at the College of Charleston. So
Nice.
she's around them about every day. But I actually got 3 sisters, and all of them were there tonight, which was pretty cool. My oldest, Christy, she was pretty loud in the stands, which isn't very characteristic. So that was cool to hear.
Yeah, we didn't get to see Christy. She did her balling back in Indiana, right? So we missed
Ohio.
her, but Ohio, my bad.
Yeah.
But we had Katie and Courtney together for a year. That was fun. Hilton at Prep, and definitely it's been fun to watch Courtney ball out, and looking forward to seeing you in baseball season too. You guys were kind of one of the surprise teams this past spring. I think a lot of people thought you would fall off, kind of like this basketball team this year, based on what you lost. But man, you were right there, causing problems all year long. So I'm sure you're looking forward to getting back out there with that bunch of guys.
Yeah, that'll definitely be fun. We have we lost a couple seniors. Peyton was probably our best player last year, and he graduated. So we'll have a lot of innings to find on the mound. But we should be pretty good again this year.
A couple more questions about this basketball tournament going on right now. What do you think of Reese Stewart last night? That guy is electric. I've been able to see him a couple times this year. He hit a buzzer beating 3 for the win against Hampton County, and he knocked one at the buzzer again tonight before halftime. And he can do a lot. He's an excellent passer, but man, when he gets the ball in his hands, he can light it up from beyond the arc, and he can slid to the hoop as well with that athleticism. So what was it like playing against Reese Stewart and that scrappy Hilton Head team, and what do you think of them?
Yeah, I played a couple of times in open gym against him this summer. He just doesn't seem to really miss. I don't really know if he missed more than a couple shots tonight, but if he sees the rim with any space, he's normally going to make it.
Yeah, he gets it up pretty quick, and a pretty sure target. You got anything else for him, Wes?
Yeah, you're back at it tomorrow. You're taking on the John Carroll School, so the competition is going to get even tougher here at this Holiday Classic. How excited are you for what's to come in the competition you might face in the next 2 days?
Yeah, that John Carroll team looked pretty good. They had some serious athletes, and a couple other good teams. Alter, I used to live around there. They're a pretty solid team as well.
Yeah, good test for you guys.
And that Greer
nice
kid
to be able to get it right
he
here.
could do it all.
Yeah, he's been good since we were little.
You remember him from back in the day, huh? Used to have some battles with him. I love that. That's cool, man. Like, the world's a small place when you really boil it down. You're all the way down here in Hilton Head and playing against guys that you grew up with over the holiday. So very cool, man. Well, thanks for making time for us tonight, Connor. We appreciate it, and we enjoy watching you play. And best of luck the rest of this week and the rest of this season.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a happy holiday.
All right, you too, brother. Connor Campbell from Hilton Head Prep. Good kid, man. Been really impressed with that whole family. Yeah, I've just been really impressed with the whole family. The attitude, the competitiveness, and everything that they bring to the table in every sport they play. I mean, you can attest to that, Misa. There's some kids, it's like, I don't really care what your talent level is, because you're going to give me full effort and be coachable. So I can work with that. Whatever your talent level is, I can work with that. And they happen to also be really talented kids who and it usually works out that way. Usually the ones who are coachable and do it the right way turn out to get the most out of whatever their God-given talents and abilities are. So good kid there. What else we got on tap tonight, fellas?
I got some more Holiday Classic.
That's what we were going to do. We were going to let you talk more about that.
Yeah. We mentioned the boys bracket, but Hilton High with a really impressive win over Liberty, and that was a dominant victory for the Seahawks. I can't say enough about how well and how great of a job that Ranazuski has done in this season.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's been on that track record, but even losing that star player in Linda Young, they have found contributions everywhere, up and down that box scores. I'm trying to pull it up now here, looking through my pictures, but man, I only watched the second half, and they were already up 20, 25 points. and they were having their bench players on, and they were getting it done in that first half. A lot of Leah Jackson, who has been an absolute, godsend for this team, along with Deja Godson. I didn't to blame that, but Jackson, her
Godson and
height,
Godson.
yeah, they were shooting well from the free throw line. She was getting some good looks, and then Jules McKenna with 8 points in that second quarter and 11 overall. She had a terrific outing. Godson, I mentioned. Amaya Roten continuing her strong play. The depth of this team, and I know, they got on top of a Liberty squad that I thought, maybe not be the best talent that they'll face this week, because they got a tough one on their hands tomorrow against Bishop Kenny out of Florida. That is going to be quite a tall task for the Seahawks squad. That I remember the team coming there a few years ago. I think they either won it or came up just short and came in second, but they have quite a team over there. I didn't get to see him. I will see him tomorrow against that Seahawks squad. And, I'll just say that Hilton will have to be at the top of its game against that team, because they're not.
They're going to be real good. They're going to be real tough.
But
Hilton Head is really impressing me. And then who else is impressing me on the girls' side is May River. They put it on BA tonight, 55-12. And it was a little bit of everybody doing it too. Ashley Williams had 11 all in the first half. I think. Is that right?
No, she had 6.
Sorry, Emma Fott. Fott had 11. She hit 3 threes. And Brooklyn Macy, youngster, 8th grader, right? Isn't she an 8th grader?
Yeah, there's 3 8th
coming
graders
off the bench with Brooklyn coming off the bench with 10. The Scourge girls both played and scored as well. So it's pretty cool to see a bunch of young talent coming up at once over there at May River, and they're now 4-1. So kind of quietly making some noise.
The new wave. We saw the changing of the guard in terms of a few years ago when the Peluso sisters were there and China Sneed was there, and that team was absolutely dominant. Now we're getting this new generation of May River Shark girls that I think they're going to be up to challenge. And Jermaine Bigham has been there for a while, and I think he's really done a good job with who he has and who's being developed over there. So I like to see this May River girls squad on the up and up after a few down seasons. But that boys team, my God, put it on Beaufort Academy, shot the lights out in that second half. I want to. Who are some of those other guys? You mentioned them in passing, but man, just reflect on what you saw there. That hour or so where they just could not miss. My God.
I was pulling it up. Gage led all scores with 20. He's having a great year,
and he didn't play the fourth quarter.
He didn't play the fourth quarter at all, so he had 3 and out. He had
13 in the second quarter. He almost single-handedly just pulled them away in that second quarter.
Yeah, you had Karan Green hit a 3. He's in a 3-point shooter. He hit 3. We talked about
Bostwick had 12. Kevin Up had 11.
Bryson, who had a Steph Curry moment where he hit 3 in a row, and then the fourth one almost went in. It went in and out. He made that when I was going home.
He was heat checking at that point. It was almost like Reggie Miller-esque, where he scored 3 threes in 14 or 17 seconds. It was bananas how fast he scored them. It all happened very fast in that third quarter. I don't think BA knew I hit him. It was everybody, man. Everybody but Nacho scored, and Nacho started the game. And he usually scores a good. No, he didn't start the game tonight. He must have been sick.
He came off the bench.
He must have been sick or something tonight.
And here's the thing:
he didn't really get to touch it though, because they weren't ever in the half court. They were just running.
No. And that's the thing. How many turnovers did we see on the full court press that Murray was doing?
A bunch.
Where you see easy buckets or turned over and all that. So that's been kind of their strength this year. Justin, you and I were talking about it on the sideline that May River's defense,
their half-court defense is really good.
It's very good, and if you look at the starting 5, there's no seniors on that starting 5. When you have Duncan, Macy, Hunter, and so there's no seniors.
Andrew Johnson.
they're young, they're getting all this experience in. A lot of these guys played last year as well in varsity and got minutes in. So girls and boys at River basketball, young and experienced, and they're playing better than we thought they were going to play. And that's a good problem to have. With the
sure.
what we thought was going to happen this season, and the region being as competitive as it is, as you guys said earlier. Right now, you don't know who's who because this person
really
beat
don't.
this person who beat that person who didn't beat this person. So it's
messy. I will say Beaufort Academy boys were without Zeke Gonzalez and Eddie Gonzalez tonight, which is two pretty key pieces.
Yeah,
I'm not sure where they were, but
Zeke Gonzalez has been such a huge piece of that team.
Yeah, no,
that's a tough
critical.
loss not to have him.
Eddie's a nice piece inside too. He's a nice post player. He's got good.
Yeah.
He's good at sealing off and working the block. So that would have made a difference. I don't know that it would have made all the difference tonight, but it definitely.
I don't know what to think about this Maryville boys team because that was a strong performance. They've gotten a few nice wins. Where Beaufort, I
think we got to think they're pretty good
because they really haven't played that quality squad.
Yeah, well, I mean, they beat.
Yeah,
Beaufort,
I think they're going to be. I mean, a tough.
I think they're pretty good.
Region.
I think they're pretty good. I think if they make shots, if they make shots and they're able to set up their defense and get the press going a little bit and make people work in the half court because they are exceptional in the half court defense, just exceptional.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said earlier, they made BA run a full minute and then take a timeout at one point to start the second quarter. They can really D up in the half court, but if you can get out and run on them a little bit and force the pace, then it gets them a little out of their game because they definitely rely on Duncan and Macy to get steals and easy buckets and things like that, and then set up the press. So if you can keep them kind of out of rhythm and not let them get going on offense and not let them set up the press, then they're a little easier to handle. But they're a lot better than I thought they would be on paper. A lot
offensively, they've improved from early in the season. I watched maybe 4 or 5 games this year where the offense has greatly improved, and defense makes it easier. But tonight they were making just about everything. I mean, I would love to see the field goal percentage for tonight, but it was insane. It's one of those where VA didn't have a great game and Maryville had a great game, and that
it was a perfect storm situation for sure.
The third quarter was again 39-4.
Yeah, it was 12-12, man. Like it was a dogfight until you had to stop.
So it wasn't.
Like it was crazy. It was crazy. I haven't seen one turn quite like that. It was pretty wild. But let's shout out some more sponsors. Varsity sponsors of LowcoSports this season are DDS Web Design, the Parker Law Group, and Reverence Wrestling Club. DDS Web Design, they can build, host, and maintain your website. Actually met with Denise today to talk about a website for a little project that's coming down the pipe. But DDS can help you get set up with the website, get you the search engine optimization built in so you can get found through an organic search, which is how you do more business and continue to scale up and get bigger. DDSHHI.com. You can go there and get you a consultation, set up a consultation. They'll give you a free analysis of your search engine optimization on your website. And then Parker Law Group, if you have legal needs in Hampton, Colleton, or Jasper counties, they can take care of that for you. They've been doing it for years, and they've jumped on board to support us and continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the Lowco. And then Reverence Wrestling Club, presenting sponsors of the Lowco Grind, Wednesday nights at 10, covering high school wrestling and other combat sports in the Lowco. Mostly wrestling right now, but we'll get into more MMA, boxing, all that kind of stuff in the off season from high school wrestling when there's a little less going on. But love to have Reverence Wrestling Club on our side. And for you wrestlers who want to take your skills to the next level, that's the place to do it, Reverence Wrestling Club. So, fellas, couple more things that I had on the docket today. Mostly it was just, do you have anything else to say about the realignment? Did we cover that in sufficient? I think we covered it sufficiently. Yeah. I don't anticipate a lot of movement from the appeals, really. I think there's going to be a whole lot of, Yeah, no, everybody's mad right now. We're just gonna roll with it, and we'll adjust in 2 years. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, I think everything's pretty much set in stone, but I'll say that I think the realignment, the way they decided to do it, the multiplier, I think it was a outstanding decision by the high school league and the staff there because when you're able to get those as many talented pieces for these athletic programs from out of state, it's not a level playing field, and this is a great way to level that unlevel thing that we're seeing in terms of that imbalance of competition. So I think this is the best way to address it, and I think they did as well as they could. And we're never going to get it all right. It's impossible to get everything correctly situated where it's the fairest, because it's not. It's impossible. It's an impossible task, but I think they did as best as they could. And there's always a spot where you have to draw a line between one classification and another. And I think we could see a couple of changes along the way, but I think most of the things I'm pretty sure will end up being set in stone as they are right now. So we'll see how the appeals take place. I don't expect anything to change right here. I think, although maybe we'll see what happens with Bridges. I think.
Yeah, I think we could see. There's a couple of kind of borderline ones in each classification where they're probably going to appeal, and if it happens to match up that the same number of teams are appealing to go up and down, then it might work out. But it's pretty rare.
There's only a handful of teams that numbers wise are playing up. So like May River and North Augusta, we have higher numbers than Catawba Ridge and Myrtle Beach, but geographically speaking, it makes sense for them to go 5A. And then I think Abbeville has a small number.
Abbeville barely hangs on.
1A. To 2A. If we get the breakdown of the numbers, they could make an argument for being 1A, but then geographically speaking, like you said, Wes, I think there's no perfect system. And it was very clear that what was happening in 1A and 2A was not fair. And so now let's look at 1A, 2A now. These are true traditional high schools that are going to be able to go into a season and say, oh, we have a genuine fair chance to win a state championship and not have to worry about, Bishop England's down the road, or Oceanside, or Gray, or Southside Christian. So, it'll be interesting to see the appeals. I do hope that our legislators don't get involved and take over the high school league. I think they need to, but that's another show. That's not a LowcoSports show. But I do hope that they kind of just stay away and not let the small, powerful, private charter schools and et cetera be able to legislate what the majority want. Because one thing is clear for years. Let's remember, a few years ago, the ADs voted for something to change with the charter schools and the academies, and the legislature put a proviso in that pretty much did that, and that's why that changed. And so the percentages haven't changed in terms of the majority wanting something to happen, and something's happening. All of us are affected. Like I said earlier, when Coach Huff was here, every school, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 schools in the state, their numbers changed because they had kids that are out of zone. So it's not like it's a.
And which ones numbers didn't change? Those 1As and 2As were the only school in the county, so there's nowhere else you could go. Where would you go? I mean, who would Hampton County get someone out of district from? Where would they come from?
Yeah,
there's no school within a long ways, and that's why it had to happen, because you're dealing with schools like that competing against an Oceanside and a Gray, which are in population centers where they are drawing from numerous other schools, like dozens of other schools in some cases. And Hampton is literally like, whoever lives in this county, that's all we can get. And there's only 26,000 people in that county, versus 750,000 in Charleston or whatever. So something had to happen. And certainly, as you mentioned, there's no magic bullet. There's no perfect way to do this, because the proviso, created a loophole, or not a loophole, I guess, but a
barrier,
a hoop you had to jump through, which was, well, you can't treat these schools differently than these others. So they found a way within the guidelines that have been presented to them to level the playing field and balance it out a little bit.
I'm
That
curious to see what the
multiplier come down at some point. I do think there's a little bit of a concern about a school like Bridges because they're different. They're not in a major population center. They're not drawing from a bunch of different schools. They're drawing from 3 schools in their community, and in a pretty small community. So I do see where schools like that are going to be impacted probably more than they needed to be for competitive balance.
It's those unintended
see some adjustments. Yeah. We may see some adjustments down the road in some way or another. But again, how do you differentiate? You can't really within that proviso. You have to treat everybody the same. So it's going to be, it won't be perfect, but it was far, far, far from perfect before. And it's going to be a lot closer to what the ideal would be as far as resources competing against one another.
And I'm pretty sure Gray and Oceanside and Christchurch and these schools don't have to worry about region teams forfeiting in this new line. Like there's not going to be that problem. There's going to be, 4A has 9 Columbia schools now. I am sure those schools are chomping at the bit to get a chance to play great in some of these sports because they are getting kids from those schools. So it's no different than, the Charleston schools being able to play the Oceanside or Bishop England. I am curious to see how the regions stack up. I think 4A might get 8 regions. I was doing my own little map thing, and it looks like
it makes so much more sense with 8 regions.
The 7 region system is kind of it's kind of skewed because you have all the at-large teams, and it's a mess in terms of when you get in playoffs. So I like the balance 4 and 4 in each classification. Obviously, it's hard. It's hard to do with the 5 regions versus way back when we had 4, but our classifications. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a better system to have the balance in the lower state and the upper state. To set up what would be an equal postseason. So. There's no easy way to figure all that out and to design it, but I think I think obviously you want to expand, you want to give more teams a shot at winning state championships, you want to grow yourself as a high school league compared to what we're seeing from other states around the country, and they've been doing a solid job, and I think this is a huge step forward. Just realizing that there are issues, competitive imbalance issues in the state, and to address it the way they did with the success that I think we're going to see is a giant leap forward for the high school league and athletics in South Carolina at the high school level. So I commend and applaud what the decisions they eventually made, and now we'll see how the regions shake out, which are going to get really interesting for us. I really like it because we could have a monster or a monster Lowco for a region where we have May River, Hilton Head, Beaufort, Colleton County, Bluffton, and now we won't have to worry about the James Island, Lucy Beckham, because they're moving up. So I'm interested to see how that unfolds if we have like a big all Lowco region.
We might have it in 1A too, because 1A you have Bridgeland, Hardyville, Roll Out Boats, Polaris Tech, and there's another local school I can't remember. I don't even know Polaris has any sports, to be honest. But
Polaris, they're still listed on there though.
Yeah, I don't know why they're listed. I think they have any sports.
Region champions.
Yeah, so and then you have Bridges and Creek in 3A, and unless Bridges gets an appeal, but it'll be fun. I know for me, travel wise, I'm excited because potentially Bishop England will be in our region. Last time we played those guys, that's a fun rivalry. And they haven't played us since rivalry. They haven't played us since that lower state game, and I've reached out to them, and they always say, "Oh, our schedule's full," but now they can't run anymore. And we're looking forward to it. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and I think you're going to see more balance in all sports. And that's the big thing at the end of the day is we want everyone in the classification to have a fair chance at being able to win a championship, and understand that we have trends where certain years, this is the powerhouse team. You have your East Sides in wrestling, and you have your Florence right now in football and different things. But it's one thing to say, they're going through a deal right now, and another thing to say, hey, we got to play. We're having a great year, but we got Oceanside in the 3rd round, so we know after that it's a done deal. We have Great Collegiate or Southside or Christchurch or insert whatever school here.
Hampton almost got him. They almost got him.
Hampton.
That still
Same
stings.
thing with the upper state. So I mean,
They would
I
have
think
beat Gray too. They would have beat
Yep.
Gray.
Yep.
They matched up really well against
Yep.
them. I'm also interested to see what they do with the 5A split for football.
yes,
Because it sounds like
Yep.
they're committed to the two divisions, which
two divisions.
I agree with, because here's the deal. The smallest school in 5A, Catawba Ridge, has 1,319 students. The largest, Dorman, has 3,106. Like, that's a vast disparity.
And Dorman's multiplier only increased like 40. So that's a true natural school. That's not even like a great collegiate where they had like a 600.
They got to break up that juggernaut. That's crazy. That's two schools in one.
Wow.
Carolina Forest, Somerville still, I mean, they spin off a new high school from Somerville every 3 years, and it's still the third largest school in the state. It's crazy. But so, yeah, I mean, well, where do they break that is my question. Because if you go right down the middle, 27 and 27,
it's going to be unpaired. Like
it breaks at 1741 to 1699. And like, to really, oh, man, I mean, the big disparity is really among just the top, 10 schools.
Well,
do they 13 schools.
Do they do Big 16 like they did when there was the old 4A?
I don't know. They could. James Island would be in the Big 16, by the way. They would go from 4A to Big 16. They're number 16 at 1968. So I don't know, man. I don't know where they cut it.
I'm curious to see how James Island Athletics does in 5A.
Or do they just go down to Dutch Fork and go like, Dutch Fork and up, you got to be in Division 1. Everybody else is in Division 2.
I want to see how JI does in athletics in 5A, because last time they were in 5A, they weren't as successful as they have been in 4A. So I'm curious to see, I know what
else I was going to say about this. Those schools should want to play up, in my opinion. Like, if your selling point is that you are the place to go if you're an elite athlete who's going to play at the next level, then they should be, in my opinion, asking, begging to play up to 4A or 5A so that you can really show what you've got and display what the kids' talents are. And in my opinion, that would make them an even more attractive draw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because if
for the kind of students they want to attract. Because the elite kids don't want to go where they can just dominate. They don't want to go where they can just walk to a state championship.
They can beat the best.
They want to be challenged. They want to go up against the best, and they want to prove themselves so that they can go on to the next level. And so I've always been kind of confounded by the fact that the charters were arguing to stay down when they were just running stuff. Like, why wouldn't you want to move up? And so I think everybody's going to end up way happier than they think they are at the end of this thing. And
it's going to be a more truth revealing for some programs that you're not as strong as you were in some sports, and some others it'll be and that's the thing. At the end of the day, we at May River know what we can and cannot do, and the restrictions that we have compared to some of our other schools in our district, and not in our district, but in our region and in our classification. But at the same time, we're not backing down, and we are more than happy to play the teams that we're supposed to play in. Whether you can have a half day of training and full year for specific training, or you have a class, on third block in your schedule that's specific to your sport, and you have it all year. Great. That's awesome that you're able to do that. We can't do that in Beaufort County School District. So us Beaufort County School District schools have to play with the hand that we're dealt, and we take pride, at least speaking for May River, we take pride in being able to have our athletes compete against the top teams in our classification and be able to put a product that is competitive, even if it doesn't always go our way. We're not a prestigious athletic school in terms of state championships, but you're looking the last few years in 4A that for us, we're getting more competitive and all across the board in our sports. And, and so that's something that, like you said, Justin, as for me, if I ever was the coach at a charter school or private school where I can recruit, please, I will be scheduling the 5As, the 4As every week. I don't care if I lose 5-0. That's how we build it, because I want to get to that point. And so I think, like you said, I think once we get over the anger of now, oh my gosh, Great Collegiate has 900 more kids because of the out of zone multiplier and this and that. I think people are going to see that this is fair and that, again,
and you built that championship soccer team in 2019, and you guys certainly had to challenge yourself throughout the year. I wasn't there for it, but I'm sure you guys did to continue to better yourselves throughout that season, which helped you get over the top. I mean, that had to be part of.
Yep. And like knowing what you want. My first year, I scheduled Academic Magnet and we lost 6-0 because I had a freshman team and they're a championship powerhouse in 2A. And they've been on a schedule every year. But that's the thing as these schools that have these advantages that they're able to recruit, they're able to spend all season doing sports specific training, things that we cannot do. Why would you want to stay in a small pond when you're playing with a big yacht in a small pond? So hey, look at your nice fancy yacht, but you're in a small pond that nobody can see in the middle of God knows where, when you can go and play the bigger schools. And if you beat us, great. I welcome that. Congratulations. Yeah, now let's see how you face up against the bigger schools when the next realignment comes. But I'm excited for it. I'm glad we're in 4A and not 5A, because I think numerically we just weren't ready for that. But even if we got stuck to 5A, guess what? Hey, all right, that's where we are. When we went to 4A, hey, that's where we are. We got to get ready and do what we got to do to be competitive in this thing. So I'm excited for it. I want to see how the regions play out. I want to see what appeals get handled. I think it's a great start. I do think, just like you said, the multiplier might get looked at in the next cycle, where it may not be as high, maybe a 2 or 2.5 or something.
Right.
But I think I think the multiplier is here to stay. So for those folks who wanted to go back to what it was, it's a new day. It's not happening. And again, I'm going to reiterate this. If you poll the coaches and ADs right now, I promise you the majority are going to be in favor.
95%. 95%.
We've been fighting for it for years.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. It was the minority that was fighting for the status quo because it benefited them. And it's like, the majority would like it to be fair for everybody, please. And so that's what we got now. And again, there'll be adjustments to it, but I think it's all going to be good. I really do. Resources are the big thing, though. I mean, that's the thing for me is you're just dealing with a completely different set of resources beyond the recruiting and all of that. It's just like, Hampton County, do they have a trainer? How many? What's the training staff look like at Gray? I bet they got like 18 college interns on the training staff or something. It's just a different world. It's a different world. Yeah, facilities. And I think it's usually the adults who get focused on the wrong things. The ego gets in the way, and they, the resume looks good when you're winning state championships and all that stuff, and you go on to the next place. But what about the kids? And I think if you ask the kids, most of them would say, yeah, man, I wish we could play 4A. Like, I want to play against the big dogs, the guys that I know, the guys, my former teammates that left that school and came over here. Like, I want to play against them. I don't want to dodge them. So, I think it's going to be a good thing all the way around.
And then like, it makes them work harder, because if you're able to recruit and you're not getting past the first round, then what are you really doing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, let's call it what it is. Let's don't stack the deck and then, brag about your poker playing prowess. But let's shout out the Lowco Booster Club, name our athletes so that we can get out of here. Court Lifestyle Pros, Low Country natives Daniel and Debbie Court selling the Lowco lifestyle on Hilton Head Island. Just saw Daniel at the grind. Just yesterday. Good people. Barefoot Floor Care of the Low Country. My guy Chris Odom is the man when it comes to getting your floors clean. Doesn't matter what surface it is. He will get your floors so clean your feet will thank you. Prime IV Hydration and Wellness. Great place to go get juiced up, hydrated before the holidays. You may be hydrating another way during the holidays, and then you can go get you the the hangover cure bag at Prime IV. Adults only. Not talking to the youth. No high schoolers. Don't go there. This is for your moms. This is for your moms and your dads. The high schoolers can go get the juice, but they don't need to be getting a hangover cure. They can get that Weekend Warrior or something. Rooted Living Wellness. My friend Dr. Ambrose Cole is a terrific chiropractor. I need to go see him again because he cracked me up last week. I felt real good. Not feeling so good right now. Back's cracking a little bit. You saw me today, Misa.
Yes, he was struggling. Go see him now. Go see him tomorrow. First thing.
He knows about my rotator cuffs, which were a little janky on my first half-court shot effort. Second one came up just short. I didn't get warmed up properly.
I was trying to get video, but you moved too fast for me. I saw you and I was trying to get the video. I was like, oh, this is going to be an exclusive. And just couldn't
That's
get it.
Good. I'm glad you missed the first one. It was bad. The second one would have looked like it went in on video because it was all net, just under the rim. But a couple people made them. Joseph Schroeder made one. Who else made one? Brooks Van Esselstyn missed his first one, but he got the second.
My trash talking protege.
Yeah, he's wonderful. Eagle Creations, one of the area's best kept secrets. If you need promotional items, custom apparel, or if you want to grab a proudly Southern custom gift basket to let somebody know you appreciate them, Bill and Mandy can hook it up. And Jay's Barbershop, the place to be in Ridgeland. You go get your hair cut over there, Misa?
I used to. I go somewhere. I go to one of my former players now. I love supporting my former players, but Jay was my go-to spot for a while. So he's a good dude, big on the community, very supportive of all athletics, especially Thomas Hayward, but he's a great dude. Great barbershop, great barbers there, great environment. So definitely recommend them.
And when you walk out, turn left, go a few doors up to the Hispanic grocery and get you some tacos al pastor.
Yes. Only if they're outside though.
Yeah, if they're outside carving off the spit, that's when you want to do it. That's when you want to do it. But yeah, Jay's Barbershop, good spot. Downtown Ridgeland. Downtown Ridgeland's cool, man. Like, I don't think people give downtown Ridgeland nearly enough credit.
We got some nice spots. You got Mexican restaurants. You got Sweet and Eats. You got
Fiddlers, Eats and Sweets. Yeah,
Savannah Pizza does great
Savannah Pizza Company. Yeah,
it's a nice little spot. Like y'all sleep on Ridgeland if y'all want to keep
take your
stereotyping.
Pick of taco joints. I like Ridgeland, man. Although they didn't have horchata at that place the night I was there.
Oh yeah, you got to go to make that right when you leave the barbershop.
They got horchata up there.
Really good horchata. That's my go-to Mexican spot here.
Tacos al pastor and horchata is as good as it gets for me. That's the way to go. All right, enough about that. How about some athletes of the week, fellas? Misa, you want to jump in on this? You got an athlete of the week?
I mean, I'm going to be biased because I'm going to give my shout out to my boy Gage Duncan, 20 points tonight in 3 quarters of work.
Solid.
Yeah, he's had a great season. Even against the last game that we played at home, he was pretty unstoppable. Great ball handler, just drives to the lane really good. You're starting to see the chemistry between him, Macy, Hunter, the whole starting five. You're seeing that chemistry. So he is my athlete of the week this week.
Solid choice.
Very nice. Man, this was tough. I want to go basketball since we just shot a couple wrestling guys last night, but really tough choices from my boys player. I'm gonna go Naeem Pope for the Beaufort High Eagles, who just took down James Island in a battle back on Wednesday. 20 points to lead the way. Some clutch shooting and some really hard work out there on the floor for a good part of that game. So I'm going to give Pope the honors there, and that's a nice, under the radar player who's risen to new heights this season under Jeremy Huff. And it's not just Amari Bonds. There's a lot other guys like Amari Cleckley as well put in some work. So like how that thing is going over there at Beaufort High, and Huff's been a great coach for years, and he's kept it going despite a couple of guys leaving, including Solly Gay and the Dennison brothers no longer there, but they still look like they're going to be a factor in this region. And then for my girls player, this was a really tough choice, but I'm going to go with Morgan Scott this week, who delivered 2 sensational games last weekend against 2 tough opponents. They lost 60-40 against Archer, but Scott with a double-double, 16 points, 10 boards, and then she follows it up in a nice win against Johnson, 25 points, 11 boards, and 3 assists. So absolutely cleaning up on the glass, and has been a monstrous factor alongside what we've seen with Devin Yard, alongside Tamaya Hutchinson. So, either one of those 3 can lead the Eagles on any given night, but lately it's been shot stealing the show with her prowess on the board. So a lot of girls that deserve stars shout outs for this week, because it has been a really fun first few weeks of this basketball season, and a lot of young, especially, I mean, I definitely could have given a shout out to Leah Jackson, because she was outstanding tonight as well. So Morgan Scott gets the honors though for this week with some good competition, good wins, good performances against some outstanding competition.
Yeah, good choices. Man, you're right. There's a lot of people to choose from this week. Because as I look back at the end of last week, I'm like, holy cow! Like Takoya Hayward had some ridiculous games. Gosh, there's a bunch. I'll start with guys because I think I got mine picked out there. Well, I'm going to go with a wrestler. I got to give Houston Rudisill some more love from May River, freshman. Won the 138-pound title today at the Dorman tournament, 16-5 major decision in the final. So definitely got to give him some love. But then I'm also going to throw a little to Elijah Mathis, Battery Creek. Wes, I'm on my second one, Wes. I gave one to Houston Rudisill for wrestling because he won a gold today. Yep. Freshman. Love it. Elijah Mathis from Battery Creek, he had 20 points, 3 boards, and 5 assists in that double OT win against Bishop England the other night, and I just think he's really been the catalyst for them. He's elevated everybody around him. They're playing terrific. And then I think I do have to go to Koya on the girls' side, and I feel like I give it to her like every week, but my goodness. Saturday against Hampton, she had 20 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists, and 9 steals.
Oh, God,
and that's just
insane.
crazy good. And against Beaufort the game before, it was Beaufort, but 17, 10, 6, and 6. It's just silly numbers every night. Great kid, too. Saw her tonight at the ball game. Everybody was at the game tonight. We had I saw Carnell and Brandon Bryant. I got a photo. Jamari Stewart Manning and somebody else was in the mix with them too. Like 4 of them. And then I saw Takoya, saw Robbie and PJ, the Bensons. Everybody was out. Stars were out tonight. Brooks Van Esselston back. It was good times over at the deep end. As we've said many times, Wes, we love the holiday season, going to the gyms and seeing a bunch of people back and cheering on the old squad. So good times. Well, hey, fellas, thanks much for coming along for the ride. We went a little over time, but not too bad considering how much we had scheduled tonight. We talked with Jeremy Huff as well as Connor Campbell, talked a little realignment, some wrestling, some hoops. We had Misa Garzon, the star of Loco FC, on the show. We're definitely going to have to get that fired back up this spring. But
this isn't Hoops Report, is it?
Well, no, this is
this is Lowdown.
Show. Yeah,
I don't get credit for hoops. I gotta get on the Hoops Report and get knocked that off my list too.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah, we'll get you in there.
My goal
next
is
time May River's at home and we don't make it.
My goal is to get every Loco show that you guys have. I have to be on there somehow. So.
Well, you got to get on the grind too. You got to get on the grind.
I'm waiting to get my invite for Under the Bus. Like I'm just waiting to get to Under the Bus. I'm waiting for that too. I gotta get under somehow.
Well, now that we've introduced them to StreamYard, they are excited about the prospect of having a show with guests. So I don't know if you'll make the guest list because Curry's got a pretty good Rolodex. I'd imagine Stevens has a decent one too, and Basirico as well. So I don't know how far down the list you'll be, but we'll see if we can get you queued up for a guest appearance on UTB.
If they need a state champion, hit me up. I'm here.
Basirico's probably got a couple, doesn't he? He probably hung a couple.
No, nobody cares about them down here. Okay, we're in the South. Let's
down here in the South where we care about soccer. Is that what it is?
Football.
Yeah, we care about football, all right, but I don't think it's your football. Not generally speaking in the South. Not as much as that other football. But thanks so much, fellas. It was a great time. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible, and to all y'all who show up to listen or watch. I can't imagine why, but we appreciate that you do. It's fun to talk, and we're glad somebody wants to listen. So that's going to do it for this one. It is Thursday night, in case you've lost track. Tomorrow night's Friday. We got a Loco Hoops Report on tap, and then we're going to take a couple days off for the holidays and probably get back at it. We're considering a Monday lowdown because we might need to fill the people in on what all happened with the or Tuesday Hoops Report. Is that what it was? Tuesday Hoops Report. That's what
Monday's Christmas.
Monday, we're off. We're off Monday. Tuesday Hoops Report. Fill you in on Seahawk Classic. Get you ready for Bobcat Classic. And Wednesday, back on the grind. And Wes has disappeared.
Wes says he's done. Wes is like, I'm done.
Wes is stuck. He keeps getting stuck in the series of tubes. It's jamming up on him. But that's going to do it for this one, for real. Till next time, go Loco.
The Loco Sports Lowdown podcast is a production of Lowco Media LLC and LowcoSports.com, an independent media outlet providing grassroots local sports coverage in the South Carolina Lowcountry. We are sustained by community support from sponsors and patrons like you. Get in the game with a monthly pledge of $1 or more at patreon.com/LowcoSports to keep us going and growing. Go Lowco.